Beautiful. Well, welcome everybody. This is our very first time, our very first European US time that we are hosting. We've moved our call time to this time. So I want to welcome all the amazing Europeans to this Zoom. If you're European, go ahead and type in where you're coming from into the chat. And I'm going to just go ahead and drop us right into a little grounding. So I haven't done this in a while. So go ahead and find yourself in your body, locate yourself in your body right now. And even what you can do is put your hands on your chest and just press your chest for a few moments, just to really feel yourself, like press it like you're kneading dough or something. This is a great nervous system regulator as well, because it really helps us to land in our body. I know everybody's got a ton going on right now, and I want to thank you for taking the time on this amazing day, which is, for many different reasons, but we'll just focus on the beautiful reasons. That this is a day when lots of people around the world are celebrating this idea of independence and freedom. And this business that we are a part of, this community that we are a part of, this energy that we are a part of, this family that we are a part of, this future that we are creating is one that is founded, that is foundational, that is deeply interconnected with this idea and this energy and this frequency of freedom. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and drop in. And just go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. If you're driving, don't, but if you are in a place where you can continue to feel your body and take a nice deep breath. And we're just going to go on a little journey here for a few moments as we're starting this Zoom to anchor in this experience and this feeling, this sensation of freedom in our business and what that really feels like to be a part of. So go ahead and take a nice deep breath. And you're going to open your inner eyes. As your eyes are closed, you'll open your inner eyes, and in front of you, you see a path. And that path is beautiful. It's inviting. It's going through this sweet little forest, and you hear the birds chirping, and ahead of you in the distance you can hear a little bit of a water sound, like a waterfall sound. And you're going to start walking down this path very gently, looking around, seeing and feeling the brilliant, beautiful colors that are surrounding you, hearing this communication from the animals, from the wildlife, hearing the wind through the trees, hearing the beating of your heart and the footsteps as you walk down the path. And as you're nearing this river that's in front of you, you see someone standing on the bank. And you can't quite make out who it is, but she seems familiar. And as you're walking closer and closer, she turns around, and you see that this person is you. And this person is you at the end of our 88-day experience. So as you are nearing her, you start to notice that she's different. She's different from how you are right now. And what is different is that she feels completely free on every single level of her being. She feels free emotionally. She feels free financially. She feels free spiritually. She feels free in her time. She feels free with her energy to be able to give that to anything and everything that feels alive for her in this moment. And she is now living from a place where every single decision that she makes is initiated from a place of what feels most nourishing for me to do with my time and energy right now. So I want you to go ahead and you're going to walk right up to her and actually merge with her. So you and this future version of yourself, 88 days in the future, have merged into one. And you are looking at the world from her eyes. So just notice how it feels in your body to be in this place of complete 100% limitless possibility. And here are the things that I want you to notice. How are you holding yourself? What does it feel like? What's your posture like? What are you wearing? How are you walking? What are you doing with your time? Who's around you? Where are you in this world? What does your nervous system feel like? What are the thoughts that are moving through your mind? And now we're going to take this one step further. And what I want you to do now is you start to notice that you're not the only person standing by this river. You look around and you see that there are 5 other people with you. And each of those people has their own hub of people standing around them. And each of those people has their own hub of people standing around them. And you look and you're looking at your lineage. And what I want you to notice here is as you look out, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who are connected in this way along this river. And I want you to zoom back in and notice who are the 5 that are closest to you. Who are the 5 people that are standing nearest to you that have created this incredible lineage of hundreds and hundreds of women? Who are those 5 that have stepped forward and said yes to working together in this way? You may recognize them, you may know their names, you may see their faces, you may just feel their energy signature. But these are 5 women or men who can move incredible amounts of energy through their system, who are connected with many, 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 many people, who have beautiful, trusting relationships, who have people who have been in long-term relationships with them, who perhaps are practitioners, who perhaps are influencers on Instagram, who perhaps are retreat leaders, who perhaps are simply, incredible people that we know, that we trust, that we have been in community with for years. But I want you to just go ahead and go up to each of these 5 people who have been the conduit for hundreds and thousands of people to receive this into their lives and to move this kind of energy through their being. And just notice who those people are. And you're going to go ahead and give a hug to each one and look at them in their eyes and say, thank you for being here. And then you're going to give yourself another hug, press on your own body again, feel this in your soul, in your cells, this feeling of being in community, this feeling of being connected, of being supported, of being met energetically by other people who hold this kind of power inside of them. And you're going to bring their energy signature into you as well. And you're going to take a nice deep breath in this place and find that path again. Say thank you to the river, thank you to the trees. And start walking back towards the path. Back into this body, July 4th, 2022, into this Zoom room. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes if you haven't already. Take a sip of water if you have some. And we're gonna just go ahead and I'd love to see in the chat, number one, you know, what were you experiencing that felt different from what you're experiencing now? And number two, if you want to even just write down the first name of anyone that you saw in this experience with you. And you can write this in the chat. Like, it's really, really powerful to write the names, just the first name. You don't need to write their last name. But just type in the chat, you know, the 4 or 5 people that you saw as your partners. It felt so good and rich, like a blooming flower. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Welcome. Okay, beautiful. So we're getting some names. So the reason that I wanted to bring this into the beginning of this Zoom. Oh, okay, Jennifer's. So and if you saw people that are already in your team, that's beautiful. And the invitation here is to think about and expand into people that aren't already part of your organization. Because what we're going to be doing a little bit later in the Zoom is talking about how to magnetize and bring into our business the people who will create the magic, who will be here to partner with us to create the magic. And the magic in this business is that it's not just us working by ourselves, like going out there and like moving energy and selling Heelys, that the power and the deep, like where we get the leverage, where we get this non-linear spiraling, like blooming, blossoming, exponentially growing experience is with the people that we're working with. It's through having this community, having this lineage, and having people who also can and have the capacity to and want to and are hungry to change and transform their lives financially and in all levels. So we're going to come back to this a little bit later in the Zoom and talk about how to invite people into our 88-day transformation, into this container, like how to leverage, how to talk to people, how to hold ourselves in social media to actually attract to us people. And this is what I want you all to kind of just drop into this signature, this possibility of having people approaching you and saying, what are you doing? I want to do this with you. I am excited. I want to do my 11-day to quantum leap. I want to post every day in my stories. I want to talk to people. I'm excited. Like they hit the ground and they just want to go and start to move this energy in that way right away. So before we go into that space though, first I'm going to read off our rank advancements from June, and then I want to have a couple people jump in and share with us how and what they did to hit these, to reach these different ranks. So congratulations, first of all, and we always do these celebrations on the very first Zoom of the month, to Annie Dalter for hitting Senior Team Manager, Joanna McNichols for hitting Senior Team Manager, Emilio Merendez, Senior Team Manager, Krista Rierson, Team Manager, Gudrun, I can't read my handwriting, Team Manager, Sarah Gooding, Senior Team Manager, Josue Santiago, Team Manager, Paul Soler, Senior Team Manager, Katie Anderson, Senior Team Manager, Aisha Ophelia, Team Manager, Heather Jones, Senior Team Manager, and David Sola Rubio, Senior Team Manager. So congratulations to everybody who set a goal last month and who took the action to make that happen. And the reason, I'm just going to briefly go over, like, what does it even mean, these ranks, like these words, like team manager, like what is that? Well, this energetically is how we move the energy through this business model is by taking small goals, seeing ourselves where we are and where we want to be, having that experience of life that we want to achieve and have expressed through us, and that we have with our compensation plan, these small milestones that help us chunk down that journey from, to $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 months from where we are right now. It's all based on this foundation of helping of ourselves moving down this step-by-step bridge, and then supporting and helping other people to do the same thing. And that is really the foundation of how we grow these lineages, of how we move this energy. It is through doing something ourselves, teaching someone to do it, and then teaching people to teach other people how to do it. It's just as simple as that. So I want to bring in our first our first amazing voice, because I know she's getting on a plane to Greece in probably like 10 minutes. So Annie Dalter is an amazing ceremonialist. She is someone who has been leading retreats all over the world for many, many, many years. She is a magical human being. I'll let her share a little bit of her magic with you. And she's someone who actually just started like 3 weeks ago and sold 23 devices in her first 3 weeks. So Annie, I would like to have you and here's the thing, what I really want you all to focus on and to really feel and open up to is, as you're hearing Annie speak, it's not about you being Annie. It's not about hearing the people who have hit their rank and saying, oh, like they're so da-da-da, or they're like, I'm not like that, or I can't do that. But instead to hear her, to really notice her energy signature, and then think of people who you know in your life who might have a similar frequency that she has, that you can communicate with and connect with. So Annie, congratulations on senior team manager. I know that you were like almost senior director last month. Tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about why you're here, like what it is that made you choose to connect with Healy, and what brought you here.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. That was so sweet to hear you say all of that. Yeah, well, much like, I mean, I don't know how all of you kind of fell into it, but for me, a beautiful sister who lives actually very close to me, and our kids went to Waldorf school together. I just kept seeing it on her story. And the first time I saw her with it, I did have a heart hit, like, what is that? And, but I just kind of put it out of my mind. And then I saw it again and I saw it again. And then I just had like, a transmission, a download or whatever, heart hit is what I call it, that it was time. And I reached out to her, Fernanda, who's amazing. And I will say that like the support that I've gotten here is everything. Like, so props to Sarah and Fernanda, because I have never sold anything in my whole life that wasn't something that I created with my own two hands. Never. So it's a whole new world for me. I've never been a part of anything like this. I have been running retreats. I run witch retreats. I mean, like I'm an elemental, earthy, down to the dirt, under the nails witch. So this isn't really even my realm. Like, so there was a lot of things that like came into being. And I told Sarah this the other day, that I feel like there's something about like weaving worlds together. And for me, because I'm such an earthy, like an earth witch, that I felt like I needed to find my signature. Like, how does this work for me? How does it work in my magic? How does it work in my universe? And it turns out it works pretty fucking good, because I'm like, so like, really, it just feels like a yes on all levels for me. So so that's kind of how I fell into it. And I have been cultivating like connections and running retreats for many years. So I do know lots of people. But also I think that mean, the only thing I can say about like, I don't know, maybe moving the energy or selling them or whatever is the only thing I've ever had to do to sell anything or to do anything, get people to come to my retreats or whatever, is just being my real authentic self. And that's it. Like I have just been telling people how it's affecting me and what's happening in my world and my magic, in a very straightforward, raw, authentic way. And, you know, I know like so many people that I've seen like talk about Healy, sometimes it's kind of like this sort of mysterious thing, like, well, what is that? Like they'll just post a picture. I'm like, for me, I'm just a little bit more direct. And so I'm just like, I have this new thing and it's pretty amazing. Let's talk about it if you want to, you know? And so I've just been having some really amazing, raw, authentic experiences with the Healy, and I've just been sharing that. And incorporating it with my magic has been really something that has been really fun. And I run lots of online things and live retreats. I'm leaving for Greece to run a retreat in a few minutes. So I will incorporate it now in all of the things that I do. And, you know, so people can see it in person. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, but I'm super excited about it. And I think that my personal experience is that when someone loves something, you can feel that, right? And you can feel it as opposed to just like, I just want to sell you a thing. And I really love it. I really love this Healy. I really love what it's capable of. I love the relationship that I'm building with it as a sacred tool. And I'm just using it as a sacred tool, just like I would use my cauldron or, you know, candle magic or any other thing that I would use in my arsenal. I've sort of added it as a sacred tool. And it's just been really fun. And I'm so happy to be a part of this community and just to see everyone. And I can't wait for all of my team. There's lots of them. I can't wait for them all to like start, you know, enjoying all of the beautiful connections and, you know, expanding their own teams. So I'm going to, you know, I want to focus a lot this month on helping them grow and support them like I've been supported, because it was really a game changer. I literally knew nothing about this sort of affiliate MLM stuff. And there were a few barriers, like in terms of talking about MLMs, because a lot of people weren't that interested in that part at first. And just kind of, I had to talk through some of that with Sarah and just, and Fernanda and Johanna, one of my people that is on my team who's pretty familiar with that. So there was a learning curve for me to kind of figure out the, you know, weavings of that. But yeah, so I'm still learning, still learning all the things.
Amazing, Annie. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I just have two really quick questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
So the first is, how soon after you ordered your Healy did you start to share with people? Did you wait to get it, or did you start to share right away and go into your stories right away and all that?
Oh no, I didn't wait. I just started sharing like this new thing is coming. I was sharing it not like as the Healy, but I was sharing things about frequency that and like kind of like some just transmissions or downloads that I had kind of. And then I also started talking about it to like a few of my like closest people.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So take notes. Annie did not wait. She just started sharing about it right away. And the second question that I have for you is, it's kind of interconnected. Well, it's sort of like a two-part question. So I know that you were saying that you have had people kind of step back a little bit or have an experience around network marketing and like, oh, I don't know, like I'm not into that. And also, you know, why you're here personally. Can you just share a little bit about that kind of like leveraged income piece and like how you're talking to people about, like, you have that objection around network marketing and like also, you know, really what it is that your vision is for being here personally?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. One is, first of all, if someone asks me, is it an MLM? I just say yes. I'm not trying to skirt around it. And then after hearing from you, Sarah, and from Johanna and Fernanda and stuff, I've kind of cultivated this answer, which is, you don't have to buy stuff every month. Like, I've been hit up, because I do know a lot of people. I have been hit up by a lot of different companies to sell stuff, and I've never done it until now. So I do love that part of it, that you don't have to buy in something every single month. And so that is one of the things that I've been saying. And it feels a bit more like affiliate marketing, which I think everybody does anyway, and less like an MLM, at least from what I've kind of gathered about what it is. So those things I've been saying. And in terms of, I also think Johanna had some really good points about MLM being, originally a feminine model that was kind of woven with some patriarchal crap and kind of got a bad name. So I think that, I've just, my personality is just a bit more like raw. Like, I'm just gonna, let's just say the things, let's just get the things out. And so in terms of like what I'm here to do, I'm here to help as many people as possible get this in their hand, because I do think that this is sort of where we're headed. But additionally, for me personally, I want to merge the worlds a bit. Magic with the Healy, that resonates with me, because I've been a witch 35 years. That's what I do. That's what I do in the world. That's how I make my living. It's what I'm about. And so, yeah. And so I'm very out there about that. If I'm all in, I'm going to be all in. I always say that about about magic. When people come to me to learn about it, I say, you're the magic in your magic, right? So all the other things we do is just like icing on the cake, the tools and all the things, right? So for me, it's just to create that very clear intention, knowing that these things can come together and merge together and weave together. And that's something that I want to learn and explore more, because I'm already doing magic. So like, to bring that in feels really fun and new and fresh and another level. So I'm really excited about doing that and seeing how far I can take that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Annie. Have an amazing time in Greece. You are just such a beautiful example of someone who has, like you said, cultivated so many relationships and really can hold and move a lot of energy. And like, it's just been such a joy to be working with you in this way. So thank you. Enjoy your trip. And if you want to just type your Instagram handle in the chat, I know a lot of people are wanting to follow you. Also, Annie takes these incredible pictures of her Healy, like on her altar, like with her witchy magic. So she can post some of those maybe in the thread. And if anyone wants to, take inspiration from that. And yeah, thanks so much for being here.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, I'm happy to share any of those. People can use whatever they would like. The photos that I have, if you're inspired by that, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Annie. And the one thing that go ahead.
I just sold 2 Heelys while we were doing this. So boom.
I love it.
Bye, you guys. Have a good day.
Bye. So a couple things I want to highlight. Number one is that Annie, like Fernanda never actually like reached out to Annie. I don't think Fernanda was personally like consistent in her social media talking about Healy, and Annie saw it and reached out to her and was like, I want to do this. So just like that's and that kind of happened because Fernanda got into her space and she's like, I need some people who want to do this with me, right? She decided that she wanted to have some people that were going to do it. And like literally a week after that or something, Annie was like, hey, I saw Healy in your stories. Like, I want to do this with you. I also wanted to highlight, Annie didn't really totally like really like specifically speak to it. Fernanda is her flowering. But Annie, who has been, leading retreats, she leads like 20 retreats a year in person. And she can do that. She's an incredible, she like runs energy through her system like nobody I've ever met. But she's now in the moment in her life where she's like, I don't want to be the only person running the energy in my life forever. And so for her, Healy is also a way to like step out of that long term, like I'm just the one grinding and working, and into something that's more leveraged and that's going to create time freedom for her as well as financial freedom. So we love you, Annie. And I wanted to bring one other person to the microphone today before we jump into our 88-day training piece. SJ is someone who I personally enrolled a few months ago. She's an incredible yoga teacher. She's Canadian. She was living in Mexico, has gone through like a whole personal life transformation over the last few months. And then all of a sudden in the last few days of the month, this past month, went from like she hit team manager and then senior team manager like in the last couple days of last month after like a few months within the business. So SJ, so to kind of give you guys a little contrast from like someone who like, who enrolls and sells 20 Heelys in like 2 weeks to someone who's, taken a few months to hit fast start, like gone through the whole fast start time and like hit, use all the time and like gone through all the things. So SJ, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Share with us a little bit about what your personal vision of, being with Healy and like what this is for you, and yeah, just like a little of your story.
Thanks. Yeah. So, I mean, I got uprooted through the whole pandemic. We shifted out of our brick and mortar that we had for a number of years. It's like a staple here in Vancouver. It's a spiritual center. We had women's gatherings and yoga, and it was really unique. And then, of course, everything happened. I didn't particularly want to stick around, so our family left to Mexico. Well, first we went to Costa Rica and then Panama, and then ended up in Mexico. And then while we were away, I mean, all of that really brought up a whole lot of emotional stuff within me. I had a chronic SI pain. It was making me difficult to walk. We were carrying bags, traveling from place to place. So I was just having like a lot of physical pain as well as compounded emotional stuff going on, mental health things. And anyways, I had gotten to Mexico and was finally grounding, but it was like, how are we going to make money? And we had little things kind of trickling in, but yeah, I don't know. I had been in communication with Sarah for like some time, of watching her family thriving in Uruguay. She's always, talking about supporting women, step into financial freedom. And I think, we just had some dialogues, and she started sharing about Healy. And so then I got really interested in just like the healing benefits of Healy. And I thought, okay, I've gone through all of this personal stuff. I'm still doing all my own personal practices. I'm just feeling a lot of density and things aren't really moving. Maybe it's time to take a leap of faith. And so I did. And it was like a whole initiation to even just like get my Healy into Mexico. And it just brought up a lot, but then things started really moving, and I sold my first Healy before I even received my Healy, because it took me nearly like a month, I think, to get my Healy into Mexico. But once I got it and started using it and started running some of the programs, like I noticed shifts happening right away. I started posting it, but it wasn't very frequent. Like I was trying to be a little bit more like elusive in my shares, not like outright like putting my Healy up. I really wanted to have the personal experience first. But once I started feeling the effects of it, then I became a little bit more open with sharing, and yeah, people started connecting in with me. A lot of my community here in Canada, where I was coming back to, were interested, but kind of wanted to experience it firsthand. And so, yeah, I just took like a long time to start sharing more. And then eventually, some women started kind of reaching out that I'd been connected to that had similar values and wanted the same kind of things that I did, which was like health sovereignty and location freedom and a stream of income that is their own so that they can direct those resources where they so choose. One of the things that I've been reflecting on with like the MLM is like this beautiful concept of like flowering and how it kind of trickles and nourishes us within the company, within the network, instead of like some giant corporate conglomerate, so I really like that autonomy of where this kind of the resources are going among us rather than, to someone that's going to cause more harm. So yeah, I've just been really like plugging into that vision of just generating more resources for myself and for the women that I've connected with through Healy and their visions of how they want to show up and serve women and mothers specifically. And yeah, I really feel now it's starting to move. So I'm really excited, and landing back here, I've definitely felt a lot more people coming into my space and asking questions. And I'm just feeling really like excited and yeah, ready. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thanks, SJ. So I'm hearing that you two things. Number one, you sold a Healy right away. Way before you actually got your hands on one. And number two, like you were sharing, reaching out to people and sharing in your social media, but kind of in this, like there was a part of you, I feel like, that was wanting to have your own experience. And there was also another part of you that was like going through really intense, like being uprooted, like, nervous system stuff, like relationship stuff, like all the things that kind of, and yet like through all, like what I kind of want to highlight here is that through all of the intensity of the past 3 or 4 months since SJ first bought her Healy, and like all of the craziness and all of the like, ungrounded, like moving like multiple times and all that stuff, she still was consistent in her process, in her sharing, in her reaching out to people, to the point that now that she's feeling more grounded, like it wasn't like she just said, okay, I'm not going to do anything with this because my life is just like, ugh. And if you're on the Zoom right now and you've had things in your life since you purchased your Healy and you're like, oh my God, like, well, it's been really hard to like do anything, never mind like share about this thing, type a 1 in the comments, because this is part of the process here. Like if you've gone through your ups and downs and like your intense stuff, like just let us know in the comments, because this is life, like this is what happens. And yet when we have that vision, when we have that clarity of why we're here and what we're creating, what we're here to create, then we can still maintain that consistency, even if it's not like this huge like push of energy, like every day I'm sharing about healing my stories, but it's like, okay, I bring it in and I bring it in and I bring it in, in these waves. Now what's happening for SJ, and check out her social media if you want to put in your handle, SJ, Radiance and Rituals. Like she just posted this story the other day and I was like, wow, like I want everyone to post a story like that. It was so amazing. It's like she got to the place where she was grounded and she's she's like, her energy is opened up, and now that the foundation that she's laid from being consistent over these past few months, like lightly consistent or kind of like medium consistent, now she's in this place and she's like opening up in this new way. And all these people are like, have been watching her and, kind of like watching her with curiosity. Now they're like, oh my God, like that's what it is. Okay, like, let's go. So, to really highlight that even if you're not in this place right now where you're like ready to just like drop the hammer on your business and like, boom, like I'm doing this, like, staying consistent. And this is the same thing we saw with Fernanda and Annie, like that consistency of bringing it back around, like it really creates the foundation for what we're heading into right now, which is this 88 days where it's like, we're going to drop into focused, concentrated, momentum building action. And now we have this kind of bed of, of like exposures that we've already made, that people in our world have been like, kind of like, what is she doing? What is that thing she's talking about? So, yeah, so thanks for all that, SJ. And I'm just curious, like, do you have a couple of words of, well, what is it that you're here to create? Like, what is your vision? Like, what's your bigger vision? Why are you here? What's your why?
Oh, I was hoping where it was like, oh, just give 3 words, or no, I feel like I'm here to be a bridge. Like, I feel like, and maybe that bridge is into freedom, sovereignty, you know, being more connected to ourselves and our bodies and our innate worth, right? I think like so much of what my experience with Healy has been clearing those blocks for me about like stepping into feeling empowered to take those leaps of faith. And yeah, I feel like I'm just getting back to Canada and I was just in Mexico. So I feel like I'm feeling a little bit of a culture shock. And I also like still feel like part of me is there. So I don't know if that's like having a retreat space in one or the other, like as the bigger vision. But certainly it's going to be like around connecting women and just continuing to hold a space for people to be in their highest. And one thing I did want to say was with my journey so far, and I'm so grateful for your leadership and mentorship through it, was really about like this kind of idea of Healy being this feminine model in the feminine way, and not to push and not to force and not to be on a timeline like I gotta post, just allowing that to kind of unfold on my own timeline and trusting that. Like, it's like, okay, I need to rest. I don't need to post about this today, but maybe take a few pictures and like trickle those out over time, just allowing it to unfold in our own timelines and trusting that, if you are putting energy into it, that energy is going to be reciprocated back and in divine timing.
Awesome. Thanks, SJ. Thank you. I think Sarah Blackaw is on here, so I'm going to pass the mic to her in a moment, but I wanted to, also share one quick thing about both of these women that we heard speak today, is that both of them hit their ranks this month because they had someone in their team who also, at least one other person who they were supporting to do the same thing. So Annie had another senior team manager in her team for Johanna, and then SJ had Krista, who also hit team manager this month. And it's like, this is, again, it's this beautiful, like, synergistic way that we receive, we grow, we bloom, we get paid when we create, like, the what we receive in this model is directly equal to what we give and how we help other people to receive. So it's not like us on our own just going out there and being like, I'm going to do this and like make this money. It's like we reach down, we know what the people that we have enrolled are here to receive, like what their whys are. We know, who we're working with and how we can support them, even just energetically holding that vision. And then when we reach down and we help them do that, that is how everything starts to move, in this powerful way. And that's really what the 88 days, I'm going to switch gears here, that we're on the precipice, like we're about to start this incredible, new container for us to collectively quantum leap. And what that looks like is, this is the moment, this is the time, and we're going to kind of set you guys up to put some things in place right now, including the prospecting Zooms and how to invite to them. But, the more people that we have collectively in our organization who are like Annie and like SJ, like wanting, like all of you, like wanting to actually create income with this, that the more people that start with us all together as a community, when we start these 88 days, the more people are going to receive this download at the same time, right? So this is kind of like the energetics of this. It's like, if you get it, if you like learn it and then you teach it and then you teach people to teach it, versus if you and 10 of your people are all learning it at the same time, and then each of you are then taking that download and bringing it out into your communities, it's a completely different like movement of energy. And what SJ was saying about, there's like a timing and a flow, and not to like push yourself when you're not feeling the flow. Well, there is also like this co-regulatory space of us all being in a place of making a decision to take these next 88 days to do a burst of energy that's a 3-month burst of energy rather than like a 10-year, you know, but like to concentrate our energy in this time frame and to really like use this time to say, okay, for just these 3 months, or even like just today or just this week, you know, but just these 3 months, how much can I focus? How much can I concentrate my energy so that like on the other side of this, the energy will move itself, that it will really like have that momentum to move out. So with that being said, I'm going to call our beautiful Miss Sarah Blackaw. Are you here? Did I see you on here? Hey!
Hi.
Sarah
You
called me
made
like
it.
20 minutes or like half an hour before the Zoom, and she's like, I'm on a train, like I'm not going to be there to open it up. I was like, okay, great.
I know.
But that's part of the beauty of working in community too, is like there's always someone, you know, like we just like, you know, we just have the flow now. So Sarah, I'm going to pass it to you to kind of take us into some of the actually, like if you want to share about the times of the prospecting Zooms and, you know, just setting us up for that, and then I'll do the inviting language at the end.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, so excited to be on with you. And yes, thank you to the amazing Sarah Bliss, because planes, trains, and automobiles. And I just was like, I'm not going to get in in time for this call. So I really deeply appreciate you just stepping up and doing what you do best, leading and holding this space for everyone. And I'm just excited to be on and hearing the stories. You know, that to me is seeing people's transformations in this space is what lights me up. And I know both these girls, I've spoken to them several times, and just you know, hearing how everybody comes into this and has their own unique perspective, but it's just beautiful to see them, you know, shifting and changing. And that's really what this 88 days is, like Sarah said. It's this you know, I think one of the biggest things we're all challenged with at this time on the planet is, you know, everything is pulling for our energy and attention, you know, on social media and all the things happening in the world. And this container, our most valuable resource, is our energy and attention. Have I frozen, or is Sarah frozen? Oh no. So to have this container that allows us to, like Annie said, have this deeper intention for what we want to create. This 88 days is all about reality crafting and having that intention, but all of us together really focusing that energy, it does really collapse timelines. And that is super exciting for me, and I'm sure most of you in this space. And we do that through using our product and, you know, loving the Healy, being a product of the product. And having been in events around the world the last few months, like hearing these stories, my mind is continually blown by what this does on multiple levels. But then, as we know, this particular container is more business forward, because that is where we make the most impact and the most transformation, because the health and the personal transformation happens as soon as we get a Healy on people. But when we're business forward and we're having the financial and the community impact, we're reaching far more people. So everyone by default is going to have a Healy and have those personal energetic transformations. And when we can put resources in people's hands, that's when they can bring their visions to life, which is really what we see in this space. So that's just a little intro. And we are the best possible, like it's the best possible time. We've had this huge influx of amazing caliber of people come into our space in the last few months. So this is the best possible way we can help everybody start and have the booklet and have some structure and have consistency and really train you with the best possible start to your business. And like Sarah said, these prospect calls are the best tool you can use to really be like, who are those people that I want to bring on the journey with me? And all of us together, like, go begin that journey with a lot of momentum. And so we do say, like, long-term, the best structure is you find your 5 rock stars, you help them find their 5 rock stars, and they find their 5 rock stars. And that's how you build a deep, sustainable, nourishing, solid, beautiful, abundant business. And to find those 5 rock stars, you may need 100 people over time. So the quicker you can condense that time, the more your business is going to grow very quickly. So we want to be inviting as many people as possible onto these prospect calls. And of that, there will be a certain amount of those people that are like, I get this, I feel this, I'm in, let's go. So with these prospect calls, we're going to have some great speakers on. We're going to have, unfortunately, Miss Bliss will not be on these calls per se, but we're going to have Taryn is joining us on some. We've got Ada here, Jess, myself. I think we're even having Annie and Fernanda come in, and they're going to be really powerful, where we're, like we said, really casting the vision. We've titled it kind of create reality crafting with frequencies, wealth codes, and community. So that's going to be really the messaging and the languaging of how we're going to communicate. What this is about having your vision and your dream, and then actually these are the three components that are bringing it to life: frequencies, wealth codes, community, and a business model, really. So they get to come on and really feel the community, feel the co-regulation, feel the energy. And last time we did these calls, the energy on these calls was amazing. Like, you couldn't really get on and not want to be part of what was happening. So they were very powerful and potent. And then we have 4 of them intentionally, and I'll drop the dates in here, and we have some beautiful slides made up that you can use on your social media. And Sarah's going to go through how to invite and the languaging of inviting people in to check this out. But we run 4 so that there is a momentum, and we build from event to event. So I'll break that down a little more. So say the first one is on the 7th, and there's different time zones as well for Europe and Asia and America, but Americans can attend all of them. So you invite people to the first one, and then your people come on, they catch the vision, they feel it, they want to be part of it. Then we can support those people to invite to the next event. And then they may come on and they get the vision and it activates, and then they've got 2 more events that they can continue bringing people to. So what that helps us do, building from event to event, it helps us fast start people quickly because there's something for them to plug into straight away. It helps, it's very easy for them to plug into the energy without needing to know much. So when Sarah goes into how to invite, be taking that on board for you to invite people, but also how you're inviting people, they're going to be receiving on the other side of that. Oh, that's how I got invited to this event. And then you get to actually help them do the exact same thing you did to help them start inviting people to the event. So it's this very, this is duplication at its finest. It's very simple skills that we teach so that you can bring people along, and then you can help them bring people along. And so over these 2 weeks run up, it really is this beautiful time of just focus and really intentionally using your energy to really create momentum. And they're fun. These calls are fun. And every time you jump on a call, I find, like, the more calls you jump on when you're in this energy, it just keeps, it's that remembering, oh, this is why we're here, this is what we're doing. And it deepens your own, every time you hear Sarah speak or me speak or Taryn speak, and we have different speakers, it helps you embody why you're here and what it's about as well. So yes, those are the times and dates, and we do have slides, so I will pop them in. And also we've got now the booklet was kind of ready last week, but now we've actually got it up on a PDF that's downloadable on like a landing page for you, so you can enter in your email and download it. And also by tomorrow morning we will have an online version made up where you can actually fill it out online and then send it to your sponsor, so that we're not wasting paper. So hopefully you've been chipping away at that behind the scenes, and you can continue to finish that. It's just a way to get everything, all these ideas, all this training, like really down in one place. So you really know what this is about for you, and you have those people front of mind. Because as I've had heaps of people say, oh yeah, I was thinking of this person and they've messaged me, and now they're excited to be part of it. So that's just my little brief overview, and then Sarah, you can go more into the inviting. But on on a bigger scale, like I've been spending a lot more time with corporate, a lot more time in like globally in these events, and I can feel what is happening. And I'm just honestly, every single person on these calls now and these people that we're going to be inviting in over this 88 days, it's really a special time. And not everybody is going to get this time, like this time and this opportunity. It really, like, I feel very grateful that we all get to get this opportunity, because it's quite rare. And you know how sometimes in life there are certain opportunities, when you fully embrace them, that transform your whole life long term, and you look back and you see that that was a significant point in time, and that you said yes to it. So I deeply feel that. And yeah, that's it from my end. And then we'll get into some practical inviting from Miss Bliss.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Okay, I know we're going to go a couple minutes over today, so if you can stay on, do. I'm going to show you guys where to find some information about inviting. So we have decided that we're not going to do a call tomorrow. I've had a couple people ask, because it just feels like kind of really, I don't know how many people have been inviting. So we're going to move that one to the 7th. So we're going to have the 7th, because it just, we're really talking about inviting today. So rather than making it feel like, oh my God, like I have to invite all these people for tomorrow, and like creating that stress, we're just going to say we're starting on the 7th, the prospecting Zoom. So I want to also clarify, these Zooms are the place where, this whole business model is based around the idea that you don't have to know anything in order to share it with people. And that we use tools to get people the information, rather than like feeling like I need to know everything and like give this presentation to somebody, which can actually be counterproductive to long-term duplication. So the purpose of these calls is that all you need to do, there's many ways to do it, and I'm going to go over a few, but all you want to do, like the highest and best use of your time for the next 2 weeks until we start on the 18th, is to bring as many people as you can to these prospecting Zooms. So I want to invite you to just, each of you, like consider a number and make a decision that you're going to bring at least this many people to jump on one of these Zooms live. It's very different live. There will be replays, but it's very, very different live. So be that 10 people, 20 people, like type it in the comments. Like, what are you committed to? How many people are you personally committed to bringing to one of these 4 Zooms in the next 2 weeks? And write that down, write that number down, and like, get clear. What are you doing? Like, what is your commitment? Because like I said, every single person that you bring into this container, you've got, like, even just bringing them to the prospecting Zoom, that is like, it's like 10xing the energy than if you were to just like have a conversation with someone, bringing them into this, to receive the download from the group, is a totally different level of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys, I'm going to share my screen with you for a moment and show you where to find, sharing screen, hang on. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys, here's the Boards app. Now, if you don't already have this app, can someone please type the link to it in the comments here? Every single one of you, I need to have this Boards app and study it, because this is the resources. So here you see deeper dive, more resources with a wave on it. I don't know if it shows you where I'm clicking that, but it's under recorded trainings, deeper dive. So these first 2, formula for opening the sacred sale and connection through, leveraging live events right here. Those are the 2 that I want you guys to take a look at tonight as your homework. But I'm going to go through leveraging live events right now, which is the inviting language. So whether you have people who you're in communication with through Instagram, social media, or who you have on your list and you're having conversations with, like, this is how I invite to events. I start out the conversation with, you don't have to say, wow, what a wild time we're in. But you can say, I was just thinking about you, and I'm curious, what are you doing on, this day, on the 7th at 3 p.m.? When they answer either I'm free or I'm busy or why, then in your own language, you can say, wow, well, a few people from my business community who I really respect are going to be sharing a bit about what we're doing that's so relevant. And I'd love to have you jump on with me and hear your thoughts. So here's like where it can be so different from saying something like, you know, like, come on this Zoom and like, you know, I want you to join my business, right? If you invite someone, if you let someone know that you want to hear their thoughts, you can also say, if it's someone, you know, who's like really on your chicken list or someone who you're, you know, a little even nervous to talk to, you can say, you know, hey, like I'd love to get your opinion on something that I'm doing right now. I'm curious, would you mind? Like, I really respect you and I'd love to just hear, you know, like hear your download. Like if I sent you this Zoom link, would you be open to jumping on with me and checking it out? And that's like, you know, it's just there. I mean, there's many ways, and whoever you're communicating with, you want to communicate with them in your language that you normally talk to them in. So if it's like your sister or your best friend, you know, you might say it in a little bit different way. Like, oh my gosh, girl, you got to jump on the Zoom with me. Like, it's going to be amazing. But if it's someone, you know, like this is just this, like, if you position yourself in this way, I'd love to have you jump on with me and hear your thoughts, or I'd love to see if this is something that might resonate with you. It's just, and you're setting it up so that rather than them feeling like, oh, she's pushing on me to sit to like, you know, like rather than leaning back, it can actually bring them to lean in closer because they're like, oh yeah, like I wonder what my thoughts would be about that. So this, you know, this is how this is one way to position the invitation. When they respond, if they say, okay, cool, yeah, I'm down, like I'll check it out. And again, this isn't like, you guys aren't going to just take this and copy it and paste it. This is a framework for you to use your own languaging, but it shows you the framework of like asking for permission, asking, you know, giving them that opening of like, I'd love to hear from you about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to see if it might resonate with you. It can give them a little bit more of a relaxed experience as you're inviting them. So when they respond, say, great, I'll send you the link. And you can also say, and I'll remind you right before, when you set these things up ahead of time, like I'm going to remind you right before, then right before the Zoom, like you've already let them know you're going to remind them. So it's much more relaxing for you to send them the Zoom link than it would be if you just said, okay, awesome. Like, here's the link. And then you're like, it's right before the Zoom and you're kind of like, oh, should I send them the link again? Like, should I remind them? I don't know. Is it going to be weird if I say this to them? Like, should I open it up again? If you set it up like, great, I'll send you the link and I'm going to remind you right before. You're kind of like setting that stage so that it's less weird for you personally to feel like, should I reach back out to them? And then also here, I'm excited to connect after and hear your reflections. That also gives that, you know, it's setting it up. You're setting the stage for these different touch points so that after the Zoom, now you've already let them know, I'm going to connect after and hear your reflections. Then after the Zoom, it doesn't feel weird to either one of you if you reach back out and say, hey, how was that? Like, what was the most inspiring thing to you? You know, just it, like, if you posture your languaging like this, it opens a stream of communication down the line, rather than just like, you know, if you put in your stories like, hey, this is happening, do you want the link? And someone says yes, and then you just send them the link, you know, no other information, then the likelihood that they're going to jump on is much less than if you set it up like, great, you know, like, and you have a little conversation, a little back and forth, and let them know, I'm going to remind you and I'm going to connect after. If they can't make it, ask them if you can send the recording, find out when they can watch it and follow up after. And this is really essential. Keep track of everyone on your tracker sheet or everyone on a piece of paper that you've been communicating with about this so that you can follow up, because, you know, it's like the following up is like really where everything happens. It all happens in the follow-up. It all happens in the communication. So how are we going to be sharing? So there's a couple different ways. Number one, if you have a list, which all of you hopefully have, reaching out and having this kind of conversation. Hey, I was just thinking about you, like a couple of these ladies that I really love are going to be sharing for my business community. I'm curious what you're doing, like I'd love to have you jump on and hear your thoughts, right? Just like very light, very loving, very easy. So you can reach out directly with people that you haven't already been in conversation about, number one. Number two, you can follow up with people who you have been in conversation with. Hopefully you have some kind of list. And if not, start one, because you're going to get super confused about who you've been in communication with. Don't lose track of them. So number two is you can follow up with people that you've already been in communication with. And number three, you can attract communication to you. And this is really where, using and leveraging your social media going into any event and on the other side is so incredible. It just makes your life so much easier. It amplifies your energy, because if you start to post about it and you share about things like, oh, this business community is so amazing. Wow, I'm super excited to be like dropping into this business incubator, reality crafting, all these things, but really talking about like, what is it that you want to see change in your life? Like, why are you doing this? What is it, like, what is your story? Like, why do you want financial freedom? Specifically talking about, I want to live in a world where, my income is expanding as fast as inflation. Like, I want to see everybody in my community have their income expand as fast as inflation, like, or, whatever it is that's really alive for you, but sharing about and you really can't, I think Jessica said this the other day, like, you really can't overshare in your stories. Like, sharing in your stories on a daily basis is absolutely beautiful, perfect, and important. So if you're not don't stop yourself and say, oh, I just posted about that yesterday. Like, if I post about it today, I'm going to be like, oversharing. No, like, share every day. And share the squares and do the polls. Like, do you want the link? Are you also wanting to like create another income stream or whatever it is? But when you have people who respond to you, who engage with you, just make sure that you're not just sending them a link and expecting that in 3 days they're just going to jump on that link and like come onto the Zoom. Like, it's a process of being like really learning how to stay close with people and to navigate, like to walk with people down a road. Like, you don't just stand at the end of the road and say, oh yeah, like, I'll meet you down there, like 3 miles at the end of the hike, right? You're like, great, let's start the walk together. And you start actually hiking down the trail together so that you're connected. And I'm just going to leave you with this. Like, this is what I want you all to, well, I don't want you to imagine it too deeply, but I just want to ask the question, which is, like, we work with exposures in this business, meaning we're always planting seeds personally. When we're sharing on social media, when we're talking to people, we are like opening someone up into relationship with Healy. And once they've been opened up into that relationship, then every time that they receive, like, they see it in someone else's stories, or someone else reaches out to them, or like they, like they see whatever, like every time that they're exposed to Healy from that time out is an exposure. And we're thinking about between 7 to 10 times that someone gets exposed to this, they're going to be ready to say yes. So you don't want to just talk to someone about it or post about it on your social media and then not stay close to the people that you're communicating with, because imagine if that person got their 7th exposure from someone else and shows up onto this Zoom because they saw the link for it in someone else's stories, or because someone else reached out to them and was like, hey, and they saw it in your stories, but they haven't you haven't been, I've actually had that happen where people have told me like, oh, you're doing Healy? Like, I reached out to a couple people about it and they never really got back to me. Like, I talked to them, but they never followed up with me. I want to do it with you. And I'm like, okay, it's like, so just thinking about really walking your people home. Like, it's a whole process, and not to get it's not about saying, oh, I sent the link to 50 people and like nobody showed up on the Zoom. Well, yeah, I mean, or nobody bought it, right? It's like you're initiating the process, but you have to complete the process. And it can take varying lengths of time and varying amounts of connection. But the important piece is to not feel bad or like you're not doing it right, or that you're just bad at this, or like, oh, nobody's buying from me, like this isn't working for me. And to instead say, okay, this is normal. It takes people a certain amount of time. It takes having a full funnel. It takes having a lot of conversations, and it takes following up with those people so that your garden is continuously producing, that you can have this long-term harvest like over many seasons, versus just planting seeds one day, not watering them, and then being like confused about why you're not harvesting any, like you're not eating from your garden, right? It really is this beautiful process of nurturing relationships and staying connected, and really being in service in that way. So that's my inviting following up. And even if none of the people that you're communicating with even end up on the Zoom, you are like just inviting them and having that conversation is another exposure along this process of like the watering. Like that's like you giving them a little bit more water, even if they don't come on the Zoom. You're like, they're becoming more familiar each time that they come across the information. So I'm going to stop there. I did have a question in the comments that was like, how do you draw people to you? Well, the way that you draw people to you is to post. I mean, if you want to have like the attraction marketing is all about posting, and the more that you post, the better that you're going to get at it. So that's like stories are really, and doing the 11-day to quantum launch, just staying in that consistency. Like, okay, I'm posting, like people aren't going to necessarily be drawn to you because you post one time, right? It's a process. It is literally like, it is a growth process. Like we have, the more that we show up to be seen in this realm, the more that we attract people to us, period. There are a lot of like beautiful prompts and frameworks in the 88-day booklet around posting. And we are going to talk about this a lot in our container. We're going to talk a lot about social media. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up here. So yeah, go into the Boards app and study that inviting language. And then there is another one in there that you can look at. This is in the deeper dive resources with the wave. There's another piece in that folder about opening up the sacred sale. And that's also a really great step-by-step, like connect with your why, think about who you want to talk to, open up the conversation, ask them questions, right? It's like very step-by-step, very clear. And yeah, just have fun with it and like stay committed to your number. Like if you want to have 20 people show up on these Zooms, make sure you know who you're talking to. And the day before or the day of the Zoom, shoot them all a reminder message. Hey, here's a reminder. Here's the Zoom link. Like, I can't wait to see you on there. It makes 100% difference than if you don't do that. Seriously, like be there for your people, walk them home and have fun. And we'll see you on the 7th. And then next week, we're going to have, again, one Monday call. And the following week, starting the 18th, we are diving into our 88 days. So it's going to be amazing. And I'm really excited. Thank you everybody for being here on the 4th of July. Here's to freedom on every level, in every dimension, for everybody.
Thanks, Ed. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.